G'day, Uncle Chunt here. Look, I'm here talking about V-Pets today. So this is the Bitzee, the Magicals new one that's come out. So my wife is all into virtual pets, so I thought, what's something that I could do to share this interest with her and get involved, and something else that we can do together, because she's into. I've introduced her to all kinds of stuff that I'm into, so you could go give it back sometimes, right? So I picked this up. It wasn't too expensive. I'm glad. So this video is just going to be my first week of with this thing, right? And do I recommend it to kids? Your sons and daughters, your nieces and nephews, or I'm pretty sure most adults that are playing with these things are women. So if you've got wives out there, like wives of you out there, if you've got husbands and you want them to maybe try and join and share in your thing that you enjoy, maybe this is the right one as a gateway drug, right? Anyway, I'll explain more about that in this video, so let's check it out. Alright everyone, let's have a look at this thing. So, I'm a stranger, essentially, to V-Pets. Right, I don't know much about them, I just know my wife is into them, and she's been playing her Tamagotchi Uni for quite a while now. The last V-Pet of any kind of sort I've had was back in the 90s, and it was not even an official thing. I find out later in life. But look, it's all good. Anyway, so lately I've been looking into ways to calm down and chill out and de-stress, and I found out during my research that virtual pets apparently have been linked to stress relief, or just disassociating yourself from issues and just focusing on something like this, right? Not to go into too much detail, but I thought, I'll give it a go. Now, I didn't want to spend a lot of money either, right? I don't want to blow a couple $100 or whatever on a Tamagotchi just yet. I don't think they're that much anyway. Like, still like $80 or $100 Australian just for one of those new Tamagotchi unis. And I'm not prepared for that. So my wife and I are walking through Kmart, I believe it was, recently, and she's been eyeing off these Bitzees for about 6 or 8 months now, I think, and she's just always never picked one up. She's like, I want one, and just never picks it up. Anyway, she's got a couple other V-Pets that she uses anyway, and she's engrossed in her Tamagotchi Uni now. So I've seen her enjoy that, and it chills her out, and she relaxes with it. And I've just gone through a bit of a stressful time, and I'm looking for anything and everything that I can to de-stress and just disconnect in any way possible. So I saw this on the shelf, and these are the new ones. This is the Magicals, Bitzee Magicals. So I've had this for a week now, and I thought, you know what? I don't see too many videos up about this particular thing, right? Or this new version, at least. So I thought, bugger it, I'll put one up and give my thoughts. I'm a bloke. I don't really do this kind of thing. I've got action figures and collectibles and stuff like that, but this V-Pet kind of deal is not my thing. So I thought I'd give it a go, and my wife recommends it, so we'll check it out. So here we are. It's a big chunky thing. You've got a QR code on the back here. It takes you to the website with some instructions. And I actually like this presentation. I like the pixelated aspect here on the top. I do like this product, like the aesthetics of it all. I'm a fan of the kind of pixelated characters and whatnot. I think they look kind of cool. The art style itself, I dig that kind of stuff. Growing up in the era of 8 and 16-bit video games back in the day. So anyway, what does this look like? So you open it up, and before I do that, you can see on the back here it takes AA batteries. Right, you got to unscrew this thing, and in here it takes AA batteries, which is a bit annoying. But for the price I paid for it, I wasn't going to expect a rechargeable lithium battery inside. That's where you start getting up in price, like the Tamagotchi Unis, which is rechargeable. Anyway, so you open it up, right? Now I've had this for a week. This is going to be out of demo mode, and I'm just going to show you what it actually does and just give my overall thoughts about it. If you want like a proper unboxing and all that kind of stuff, there's just go look at some of the older videos from the previous model of this thing, and it's essentially the same thing. Right, so I'm not going to bore you with all that. So let's open this thing. Right on. Right, so it's probably not going to come up very well. As you can see here, it's a hologram. Right, it's essentially a hologram, and you've got this little flap thing, right, that's just flapping like that with LEDs on it, and it displays the VPET. So this is a legendary one, according to the instructions, where it came from a lightning bolt crystal, and it sounds like I'm saying all kinds of things that, you know, if you're on some medication that you would say, but, you know, he's falling asleep, it's very rude while I'm talking, it's very disrespectful, someone's going to wake him up. Right, so the whole gimmick about this thing is you can actually physically interact with the VPET. You're essentially just like touching the flap thing that's going off here, and there's a little swipe bar down here, that's your menu, that's how you navigate your menu or interact with it in other ways. So if I swipe across, if I can get this to work, there we go. Now it's a magic wand, it does something, it makes some other interaction thing with the animal. I'll show you that in a minute. That's how you can feed it. This is how much it's leveled up in its current form, and when it gets a full heart, it'll evolve. It only has 2 evolutions per creature. The fully evolved version is called the Super Bitzee, I think it's called, and it unlocks the game and another crystal for you to raise another one. And then you've got your settings, which in settings, you know, you can change the volume level and reassociate the screen and or reset the entire thing. Now this treasure chest, this is where, when I just mentioned, when you fully evolve a Bitzee, they give you a crystal, and it gets stored in this treasure box, right? So that's just a return, but see, I've got another legendary crystal here, so I'll show you what that looks like in a tick. So I'm going to go back. Right, so that's how you interact with the menu, and this is the castle where in the previous version it was a home, but this is magical, so it's all fantasy creatures and whatnot. So this is where all the other ones that I've come across so far, they're all housed in here. So let's open the drawbridge. So you can see these are all the other ones that I've evolved. That's the one I'm currently working on. Right, so there's a lot in here, right? You can change between them and interact with them. These are all super evolved, so they've got mini games with them. Now the mini games aren't there until you fully evolve them. So they out of the crystal, I'll show you what it all looks like. Once you burst them out of the crystal, they're like a baby thing, and then you've got to evolve them to their second stage, which you can interact with them a bit more, and there's more animations and whatnot. And then yeah, like if you've got multiple on the go, sometimes they'll send you a letter saying, hey look, I'm hungry, or like here's a baby one here. So if I just go to this one, right? So sometimes they'll send you a letter. I don't know if it's going to happen now, where, you know, they've done a poo somewhere, or they're hungry, or they're sleepy or whatever. So then you've got to go interact with that particular Bitzee and you know, satisfy its needs, right? And over time it gets more satisfied. So you can just interact with this thing, right? And I don't know if I'm, oh there you go, timely, right? So it's, you got a few stages there until it fully evolves, right? So if I do this magic wand thing, and it's motion sensing as well, so you just give it a shake, right? And this frog's gonna fart, and it's gonna sniff its own fart and doesn't like it. So you know, it's pretty hilarious, right? So you do that enough times, you know, you feed the thing. So unfortunately the flapping on here, it's not helping much with actually showing it. This thing doesn't do well on camera, I've noticed, but it is what it is. Let me just see if I can maybe adjust the ISO on this thing. There we go. Well, it's probably as good as you're going to get it on the fly here. So, you know, wake up. Anyway, so you can see there's different animations. Oh look, we'll see if we can get this thing to evolve on camera to its second evolution, and I'll go back to the other legendary one that I've got and see if I can get that to a super. So you just get to see the whole experience. But yeah, basically just rinse and repeat, right? Until you get to the point, oh look, it just farted. So this thing's made for me. Like, I think farts are funny, even at my age, and all these kinds of things fart a lot, so it's pretty hilarious. So yeah, anyway, I'll keep going on here and see if I can get this thing to evolve while we're discussing this. So, what do I think of the actual device, right, while we're working on this thing? So I think it's very inventive. I think it's different, and I think that's what drew me to it, besides the price. It was one of the cheaper ones that seemed, you know, cool enough to actually pick it up and do anything with. But I like the uniqueness of it. Like, it's something different. It's not just a little pocket thing with a little LCD screen or whatever, or an LED with just, you know, flat graphics. But the holographic part of it, I think it's quite cool. Like, it's an illusion, it is what it is, but, you know, I've heard some people complain about the noise of the flapping, and I'm sure you can hear it, you know, while I'm talking here. You know, that flapping. Hopefully the cameras pick that up, but look, it just depends. Sometimes I notice it. I don't see it as distracting. Like right now, I don't think it's really distracting at all. But I could understand. There we go. Right, so that's the second stage evolution, right? And it's gonna have one more to go. So they have different animations, and you can interact with them. Like, if I can try and get it to work on camera here, if you tilt it backwards, you know, it does something. If I tilt it forwards, you know, it does something. If I tilt it this way, you know, it goes over there. Do it the other way. You know, it's same thing. And if you use the magic wand on this form, it's a different animation. So you gotta shake it. Alright, it's turned. Yeah, so whatever that means. I have no idea what that means. Anyway. And the food's a bit bigger or different. It's changed a little bit. So there's some pancakes by the looks. And then yeah, you rinse repeat until it evolves again, and then you've got the super form, right? So if I go back to this one that I'm currently working on, which is cool, it kind of defaults. The first option in the castle here is the last one that you're working on. So that's kind of cool. So if I go back to this guy, it's a fox with multiple tails. I don't know, 4 tails or 6 tails or 9 tails. I don't know how many tails it's got, but this thing has its own range of animations. It's like an electric. It seems like, yeah, see, it's shocking itself. It's got its skeleton there. So if I shake it, yeah, it's kind of not too much of a fan of that. If I tilt it back, there you go. It's just farted a heart at me. Let's put its paws on the screen, so to speak. Anyway, see, it just rolled over. So it's kind of cool. It's got motion sensing and stuff. Like, I could see for little kids, you know, being their first V-Pet, I would imagine they'd be quite taken by this thing. There you go. There you go, fully evolved. Okay, so I got like a pink purplish one. I think it was gonna go between white and a pinky purple one. It's not turning up on screen very well on the camera here, but it is what it is. That's what you get when it's not a static image. It's just flapping all the time, so the frame rate or the shutter speed on this thing is probably not matching, but it's a lot clearer in person. So I'm going to wake this thing up. Anyway, so it has its own new animations as well, you know, as it's evolved. So it's kind of cool. They put some effort in this thing, like all the same movements. It does different things. So this is what I'm talking about now. There's a game available and there's potions, right? So you can change the color of the Super Bitzee, right? And to get colors, you got to complete the games or do well in the games, and you earn colors. So you can change the colors and customize your Bitzee. But to get the games, you got to fully evolve the thing. So it's kind of a structured approach here. So do the one thing, it'll do something different at this level. It's turned into a car for some reason. Cool, totally random. There's some dark stuff in here, I'll say. There's one character, it's a cat. It's a ghost cat. And it starts off like with a blanket and it's kind of sad all the time, right? It's crying and stuff like that. And then the next evolution, yeah, sorry, I'm really boring you, just go to sleep. The next evolution of that ghost cat one, it like puts the blanket that it's holding, and puts it over its head, like it's wearing it as a costume, like kids do, like when they're pretending to be a ghost, right? And it's a bit happier. Oh, cool. So you can see that standby mode, it just stops, right? And the last evolution of that ghost cat, it's actually dead. Like it turns into a ghost, and it's super happy, right? So it's like it was depressed in life and it became happier in death. Like it's kind of dark, right? And then there's a bit of that kind of stuff going on in this thing, and that's just how you turn it back on again. There's some dark humor in here in this thing, I've noticed. You know, there's some funny like farts and burps and stuff, but there's also some darkness in this thing, which I thought was cool. That might just be lost on, you know, some of the younger audience, but I don't know, I just thought it was funny. Anyway, so if we go play one of the games, it's pretty simple. You just use this thing as the controller, and each button does something. I don't know what this does. Oh, it's like an adventure or something like that. I have no idea. I don't know what any of this means, so I'm just going to push a button and see what happens. So I did something, I've got no idea what. That was complicated. In the instructions it shows you... Oh look, it's... Oh my god, it did something there. In the instructions it shows you what games do and how you're meant to play them. So if I go back to maybe a simpler game... I don't know which one. Where's that cat ghost I was talking to you about? That's a Loch Ness. There's a bunch of cat unicorns. It is a cat ghost. Right. So if I go here. This one I think it's a jumping game or something. So you can see the ghost is floating there, and eventually you gotta like jump or go. Oh, that's right. You gotta go disappear when the spotlight's coming over, right? And this gets progressively faster. So you're just not meant to touch the light. It's pretty simple in premise, right? But the other games can be a bit difficult if you don't know what you're doing, and it doesn't do anything to explain what the game is unless you read the instructions, which I don't do because I'm a bloke. Anyway, but you get the point. This gets faster and faster, so your length of time being invisible doesn't change. It's as long as it is. So you got to time it enough so it gives you enough time to come back before the next spotlight comes on, and so you can see it's already getting faster, right? So how do I stop playing this without failing? So I'll just do that, and that quits the game. Anyway, so look, that's more or less all of it, but I'll just show you. So when you get a crystal, right, they're found in your treasure chest, right? So you got to crack them open, and you get a different random Bitzee depending on the level, right? So this is a legendary crystal, so there's only 2 types of Bitzee that will come out if you have different genders or whatever. So you get a male or a female one, so you just got to crack it open. Alright, so there you go. So it's another one of these kitsune things. Now this, when it evolves, it'll either turn into a male version or a female version. So I think I've already got the female version. So there's a chance that this might evolve into the male version. But yeah, so it starts over, right? You got to baby this thing and grow it up to adulthood, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. So if I go back in my castle here, there's 20 of these things that you need to collect, right? And there's different variants of each one. I like this guy, he's a bit of a yeti. I like that one. This is a phoenix. It's a moth or some shit. So yeah, they're all fantasy animals. It's a crystal hedgehog apparently. So there's mermaid things. There's a pug fairy thing. I don't know what it is. There's unicorns. There's like deer, elk things, whatever they're called. That's a dragon. There's two different dragons. There's a unicorn, rainbow unicorn, and anyway. So look, is it it's worth the price for a week? So I've been playing this for a week, and I haven't finished it yet. I haven't unlocked all the creatures yet, all the Bitzees. I'm starting to see the limitations of this thing. I'm still enjoying the whole gimmick. Like, I like the hologram aspect. Oh wow, okay, it's falling asleep. It's just gone into an inanimate object or something. I like the gimmick of this hologram. I'd like to see more stuff like that. It's kind of a modern take on what the V-Pet is. Its limitations, though, are apparent. You can't trade with someone else wirelessly or anything like that. And you can't go online like some of the more recent Tamagotchi things. But look, do I recommend it? Look, if you had a young kid, you know, a niece or a nephew or a son or daughter, you know, who's into this kind of stuff, or you think might benefit from, you know, learning some kind of V-Pet patience, because part of this is, you know, if you introduce a young kid to something like this, it's meant to instill them with a bit of care, you know, for looking after a creature, you know, and caring for it, showing some compassion to a little animal or whatever, and feeding it and whatnot. And this thing has a bit of humor to it with the, you know, the burp, yeah, there you go, burps and the farts and some of the darker elements of the, I think there's some lore in here. But look, I recommend it to kids. I'm glad I didn't pay more than what I paid for it. I do dig this. Like, I think it's kind of fun, and I have noticed, you know, upon I'm just going to sleep, I have noticed, you know, yeah, it makes a little noise when you close it there. I have noticed that as I've been interacting with it, you know, it has helped me just chill out, and that in itself to me is good enough. You know, would I be invested in picking up some other kind of V-Pets? Look, I'm not going to say no. I kind of enjoy the whole, this is a bit of a novelty, right? If you've got like 5 minutes just to chill out and interact with something, you know, I don't see the harm. My wife actually has pre-ordered me the 25th anniversary Digivice for Digimon for my birthday coming up later this year, which is pretty damn cool. Like, I never had a Digimon when I was a little kid, so it's kind of full circle. So this is kind of like a primer, you know, if you want to consider that a primer for something a bit more substantial like that thing is. And my wife is talking me into, I think, trying to guide me inadvertently into getting a Tamagotchi uni, so we can play together. And it's also like, yeah, what can I do with my wife, you know, to support her interests, and you know, something else that we can do together. Like we share other things, and she, you know, is sharing the things that I'm interested in. So, you know, what can I do to show an interest into what she's into? So I'll support that, and you know, we're happy, you know, that kind of stuff. So why the hell not? But yeah, look, if it wasn't for my wife, I probably wouldn't have picked this up, and I probably wouldn't even be talking about it. So yeah, thanks to my wife. And you've got this video. Hopefully it's given you a bit of insight into what the Magicals one is. I understand there's an older one than this, and this has only just come out fairly recently. So yeah, all good. Sorry I don't have the box, but I figured I'd just do a video of, like, you know, the first week with, you know, instead of doing one of those random unboxings that, you know, I can't really stand these days. Anyway, look, coming from a bloke, if you're a woman and if you've got a husband, there are husbands out there that might be interested in getting involved in what you're into. So maybe this is a good gateway drug for them to get involved with your VPET habits, and you can share something together, and I think it's a good starting place. Anyway, that'll do my video here, and if you want to know more about what we're doing here on the channel, just subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff. And I've got my chunk cast going on, and yeah, anyway, take care, and I'll go back to raising more animals here. And there's essentially going to have like 20 games in here, like 20 little mini games. And when I'm done, I can just reset it and start over, and see which other ones I get. Anyway, take care, and I'll catch you around the channel. Toodaloos.